Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today's Monday, March 16, 2026, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network as the Middle East conflict goes into its third week. Donald Trump is literally saying, we're shocked. We had no idea that Iran would be targeting other countries. What is next for the strategy? Is it boots on the ground? Yeah, we'll talk to a retired general about that very issue. In Illinois, voters head to the polls on tomorrow for their primaries, a huge race. Two black women square off in the U.S. Senate race could then open a door for an Indian American congressman. We'll talk with Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, who is running to replace Senator Dick Durbin. Legal women voters in 5 states and other organizations are headed to court on Tuesday to challenge a new rule that bars nonpartisan civic engagement groups from providing voter registration and promoting civic engagement. We'll talk to one of the groups connected to the lawsuit. Texas Congressman Greg Casar and Texas Senator Casar Cornyn, they got into a heated exchange about TSA agents working without pay during this partial government shutdown. Wait till we show you the video. Folks, last night it was up and down for sinners at the Oscars. We'll show you what prizes they took home. Folks, that and more. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling.
Folks, day 17 of the war between Iran, Israel, and the United States. The conflict continues to expand across the region. Donald Trump is now pushing for international support to secure the Strait of Hormuz, a vital oil route where shipping has nearly shut down due to the war. According to CNN, more than 2,200 people across the region have been killed since the conflict started 3 weeks ago, 1,300 in Iran and hundreds more in Lebanon. The war continues to expand across the region. Donald Trump literally was complaining that he just could not believe that Iran will be firing on Dubai and neighboring countries.
Look what happened in the last 2 weeks. They weren't supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East. Those missiles were set to go after them. So they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked.
They weren't supposed to go after those other countries. I'm sorry. Was there some sort of rule book that was passed out for Iran to abide by that I'm not quite aware of? And then we were shocked. How could you be shocked? When you are planning war, you are to go over those details. You are to literally examine those things. You are to anticipate an action and a reaction and an action to the reaction. What the hell? New York Times is reporting that Trump's advisors were telling him, hey, hold up on doing this. And he just felt like, you know what? I feel like doing it. Well, that's what happens when you don't properly plan for a war. Retired Brigadier General Arnold Gordon-Bray joins us right now. Glad to have him on the show. General Bray, Frack, glad to see you. This is what is nonsensical. To listen to the person who occupies the commander-in-chief's position go, they weren't supposed to do that. We were shocked. Dude, what did you think was going to happen? Iran clearly, and from a military standpoint, it's actually smart. Iran's like, okay, you're going to hit us. You've got partners all across the Gulf, people who are partners with the United States. So we're going to hit strategic. We're going to hit different places. We're going to hit resorts, Dubai International Airport is a huge gateway, and so their action is now causing a ripple effect all across the Gulf. He sounds crazy saying, well, we're shocked they actually did that.
I'm going to be candid. First of all, thank you very much. This is, I feel like Doug from Saturday Night Live. I got something to say about this. This is, if you're a strategist, there's several things going on. You know that part of it, no kidding, a layout of all planners, they go through who are the actors, not just your threats, not just your friends, but who are the actors, who are the people that's involved in what you're deciding to do. So in our minds, many of us, we're looking to see how do you contain it. You're going to kick a dog, and you're going to trap a dog, and then you're going to take away all of his known effects and toys, and you've got a person that is already striving to exist. So I will not pretend for a moment I have access to all the intelligence that's been made available, but I know the processes at virtually every level of our nation's defenses. And so when I listen to others who suggest that we were surprised, the only surprise that should be is who decided to do what and with what levels of commitment, but they're in the game. And if you're specifically Iran, you are a threat to the entire region. They know that. You've got the capability to do certain things. And it's, militarily, we know that we can always win. We really can. But the military is never the end of war. We've got great soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, and Guardsmen. And so we know we have that capability. But that's not how wars begin or end. They begin with an end in mind that is usually a State Department framing if it's going to be a real conflict with an end. And so everybody that's involved in the play, you've got to do, as you said, there is going to be an action and a reaction. But here's part of the start point. You have to understand who are your friends, who are your enemies, and who are your threats. And more importantly, who are the friends and the enemies to your threats and to your friends? Some forget that up until the surrender of Japan and Russia were friends, and with a treaty that had lasted the entire war. So when you do something, you got to be careful how far it spreads. So the only people surprised are those who are trying to be surprised for media. For media. That's the only reason. No strategist, no military planner was really surprised by any actions that we've seen thus far.
When I look at a lot of these folks who are commenting, and let's be real clear, I've never served in the military. But I've had way too many conversations with people who have been in the military at the highest levels, 4-star generals.
My product of Texas A&M.
Listen, I listen to all the military people at Texas A&M. And when I hear conservatives say, that's right, we got to take out Iran, I'm always trying to explain to people, okay, when you say you take out one country, you have to understand that has an impact on 5, 8, 10, 15, 20 other countries. So when you talk about when Trump goes, well, we can take out the Ayatollah and we're going to put in our own person, like we did in Venezuela. Iran ain't Venezuela. And this idea that you're going to be able to control what happens in Iran is crazy. Do I understand that Iran has exported terrorism all across the world? Yes. That's also why the word containment matters, because you have to factor those things in. And America has always understood the idea, and previous American presidents, of containment. Other presidents could have bombed Iran a long time ago, but they also understood that thing has a domino effect. And that's why when you make that decision, you damn well better have been planning 20, 30 years down the road, as opposed to just thinking, oh, we can get this done in a few days. Okay, then we're good and we can walk away.
Ross Perot talked about the Middle East, and he says they play three-dimensional chess. And sometimes we get caught up playing checkers. Someone else even stated earlier that we are in this process. We sometimes think about this being flat. When you teach your children, you say, now don't start a fight, because if you do, you got to finish it. And oh, by the way, if you push somebody, you just started. You can't limit how they're going to come back at you. You have to take away those capabilities. And the problem is that part of the world has capabilities that we still don't know. There are 4 countries that, in my mind, that have mastered underground operations from the beginning. We know that Hamas, Hezbollah, they've been operating underground for a long time, working against the Israelis. You have the North Koreans. You have the entire rim of people from the Southeast Asia, and then you have those that own the borders of Israel. Others, and now the cartels from this country, they operate, and they operate under the ground as well. Even from the tactical sense, you don't really know all the damage you've done or the successes you had. So even from a military perspective, you got to be prepared to go ahead and validate anything that you do. But you also got to know, once you start that domino effect, you're going to be in for the unknown of all of your effects for a while. And then you're going to find out some things. But at the very beginning, you got to make sure you understand you thought that through. And so now we're talking about the political side, when you're going to bring in your teammates. Here's a classic example of, I think, one of the most obvious blows that we didn't address. What was China and Russia going to do when we decided to impose our will? Those are other major regional threats that, if we do something, is going to affect their diplomatic, informational, military, or economic means and their friends. So now we're helping a fight right now with the Ukrainians. We're supporting that fight. One of the things we did, we put sanctions on Russia. Well, Russia gets concerned about what we're doing here. To placate them, we now take some of those sanctions off.
And now European allies are going, what the hell are you doing?
So now we're now fighting ourselves because someone didn't think that through. That kind of checkers thought process, I'm not sure where that came from. And again, it's amazing to hear anyone say that was unexpected. That means you didn't really have a strategy to go with the ideas of your actions. So
and General,
I find it conflicting.
So this is the 3rd week. Okay, if you get to the 4th and the 5th week, you now then have to make a decision. Do you send in troops? Now that's a whole different conversation, because now we start thinking about Iraq. Again, Donald Rumsfeld was like, oh, this is going to be quick and easy. It wasn't. We talk about Afghanistan. We spent more than 20 years there. And guess what? The Taliban waited us out, and now they're back in control. And that's the thing that people have to understand. Unless you're going to commit to a long-term strategy of staying in these places, the idea of just getting in and getting out, it is not that simple. They'll simply wait you out, and they can wait us out, and they've done that.
Yes, there's old discussion says the results of war are never final, and the Weinberger Powell rules always said, once you break it, you own it. And we think we want to own some things. We've said we'll take over. Every nation has its own challenges. We have our own challenges here, and the idea that we think we can run other nations, I think, is at the very least a challenging proposition, because one is those nations are ran by culture. And we've learned that I think we've learned our lessons from most of the strategists, is that one, the American ideology, which is really a bastardization of a panoply of nations, does not fit these other places that are still very tribal in their processes. And so we've got to kind of understand that piece. So So as we're starting to look at how we prosecute what we're going to do with these places, we have to say, one, what is it that was really and there's 3 points. What is it that was a threat to Americans? What was it as a threat to America? And what was it as a threat that's to American interest that made us commit vital? So now we've got more tools in our kit bag than to go to boots on the ground just yet. But to validate, to really control, is going to require some level of assurances by human beings at some point in time. And whether that's Americans or whether that's some kind of a composite team of people to validate what's occurring, and as high tech and sophisticated as AI has gotten, it still hasn't gotten to the validation places whereby somebody isn't required to be able to check what the machines and even what the visual things are telling us. Goes back again to the song, believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. And that's what human beings bring back to you. That's the validity of processes. And whether we're there yet, I don't know.
Last bite I'm gonna play for you. This relates to Cuba. And again, you just sit here and you're like, really? Okay, so listen to this here.
When will the United States do it? I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That'd be good. That's a big honor.
Taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth? They're a very weakened nation right now. They were for a long time.
I can do whatever I want with it.
That's South Florida talking. That really is. That's South Florida talking. That's the I call them the expat oligarchs of South Florida. That's an influence, and because Cuba is still a very proud country, the people that are there are still proud of being Cuban, and they don't want to be a surrogate for even the expats. There's a strong contingent, to be fair, there's a strong contingent of expats that fled that would like to bring back some greater relationships. But anything that is done other than by the Cuban people and that kind of relationship that was starting to gel in the latter years of the Obama administration, and actually the Obama / Bush administration, that relationship as it was starting to gel, if it doesn't go through a diplomatic process, what you're going to have is you're going to have people who are going to rebel, and they will have internal wars that got them to the same place they were in the late 50s, early 60s. And again, you have to open the playbooks of the past to understand the conditions that led to what occurred there in that place. And then you got to make sure that you really not listen to the people who have the money to talk to you. You got to listen to the will of the people and the culture of the people. And I don't think we've done that. And to treat them as a 51st state does nothing for us as Americans to try to believe that we can move in there, even assisting, without some kind of listening that makes us look like the benevolent nation that makes us work. You know, one of the greatest traits of this nation, and it makes it so that people do really surrender to us in some cases, is because they believe that in most cases, America comes in to do the right thing. If we look like an imperial country moving in these places, I will tell you, I would hate to sometimes be fighting now, because I don't know if we have that same sense of feeling of right that's generated both to our threats and within every soldier. Because that space is what makes people say, I don't mind giving up to the United States, because if I was doing something wrong, I felt it. The Germans felt it, the Italians felt it, and they fought hard. But we always gave respect, and they expected us to be the tight nation that we are.
General Bray, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so very much.
Hey, appreciate you, 1-9.
All right, 06. I'm going to go to a break, talk to my panel. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
I'm Ryan Wilson, CEO and co-founder of The Gathering Spot, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
All right, let's get to it. Our panel. Thelma Anderson, creator of the Public Opinion Court and author of Shut Up and Prosecute, joining us out of Dallas. Dr. Ome Congo Dibinga Sr., professorial lecturer, School of International Service, American University, author of Lies About Black People, How to Combat Racism, joining us from D.C. Cecilia J. Brown, Esquire. She is with Cecilia Newby and Associates, law firm out of Chicago. Glad to have all three of y'all here. Let's get right into it. Ome Congo, this is just really nonsensical. You to listen to the occupant of the Oval Office go, they weren't supposed to do that. I can't, we never expected that. I mean, okay, how stupid can you be? All right, if you actually believe that, you sure as hell don't say it.
Right. Yo, my goodness. I mean, every single day, this man shows that he is a whiny brat who got everything that he wants by taking it from somebody else. And he feels like he can just get out there and take it. He feels like he can do like what he did in Venezuela. And that has made him more drunk with power. And Iran is like, we're not having it. As I've heard many people say throughout the time since the war started, you know, the enemy gets a vote too. And you can't just walk in and just do whatever you want to do and expect people to play by the rules, especially when you're not playing by the rules. You bomb a girls' school on the first day. How many press conferences has I seen with Pete Hegseth where he has literally said things rolling like, no mercy, no quarter. I saw one press conference where he said, we are going to kick you while you're down. All of these things that are war crimes. And so now he expects the Iranians to play by the same rules. It is absolutely ridiculous. This is a war that is unpopular with the American people. And Trump did not realize what he was getting into, even though all of the generals tried to tell him that this was a mistake. And what did he say in one of the podcasts or whatever last week? Oh, when I get the feeling in my stomach that this is over, I don't need to listen to the generals. I know what's, look, if I had someone who's a family member who's in the military right now, I would be scared just because of the sheer incompetence. And when I look at all of these families, the 13 families that have lost people already, we understand this is casualties of war, but a casualty of war based on incompetence, that's unforgivable. That's completely unforgivable. And I hope more people decide to stand up and speak out. And hey, these countries around the world, they're like, hey, you got into this, you made your bed, now you got to lie in it.
No, Cecilia, I sit here and watch this unfolding. And it's stupid as stupid does. Kind of like, yeah, we can do whatever we want to do, whatever. And think nothing about consequences. Nothing about long-term planning and strategy. It's just, whatever gets my rocks off today, let's go ahead and do it, and then we'll figure that crap out later. And at the worst, I'll be gone in 2 years. What the hell?
Stay on camera or not?
Cecilia?
I'm sorry?
Go ahead. Cecilia, go ahead.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. I think you're exactly right, Roland. One of the things that General Bray mentioned was and emphasized is strategy. And it's clear that President Trump has absolutely no strategy. There's no one in his cabinet that can probably spell strategy. More importantly, from my perspective, the Israeli strategy has always been to push a narrative to make every Middle East country and the U.S. fight their ongoing battle. So is this, campaign any different from what Israel has been doing? Not at all. And the lack of the U.S. strategy is what has us in this problem right now.
Thelma, it's sort of like, Bonham. I know. I mean, it's just, and again, when you look at these reports from the New York Times and others talking about his military strategists, we're saying, don't do this. But this is the problem that we have right now. You do not have guardrails. You do not have a retired four-star general like you had before as chief of staff. You don't have General Mark Milley here, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. What you have are a bunch of sycophants who are going to like, okay, sure, do what you want to do that. Let's go right ahead.
No, absolutely right. And there's a saying that says, if you plan to fail, you fail to plan. And that is exactly what the U.S. is doing under the leadership of the most incompetent president to ever breathe life on this country. And the one thing that continues to stand out is he makes these statements as if he is a victory. But we know we are getting our butts kicked each and every day because he didn't plan for this to happen. But he set up in that room with Netanyahu, who knew what his agenda was. And his agenda was to get America to do their dirty work. Trump is trying to silence the whole Epstein saga that has needed to be flushed out many years ago. So when you get someone like Netanyahu to play in your face, and then you know that there's an agreement on the table and Iran was willing to go with you in whatever deal that needed to be made, and then you don't even go to Congress to tell them what you're about to do, yeah, you knew exactly what you were doing. And the fact that you allowed for your missiles to kill over 160 children. So I don't feel any kind of way that our allies is saying, we don't want no parts. You don't even want no parts, but you showed up to a fight that didn't have nothing to do with you. When these people really sat down and said, we will agree to the terms, and you decided that you were going to go to war. So you on your own, Trump, and he should be on his own, but on is us taking it at our expense.
And you've got people like Charlie Gasparino of CNBC, go to my iPad, talking about, he's retweeting Pete Navarro's, Iran war will lower energy prices. He goes, well-reasoned peace. Okay, if you believe that, we have multiple bridges to sell you. All right, got to go to a break. We come back right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. More, including the critical U.S. Senate race taking place in Illinois on tomorrow. It's a winner-take-all. Could two black candidates wipe out each other? We'll talk about that. We'll talk with one of those candidates, Lieutenant Governor Stratton. Also, the Save America Act. Straight up lie. Straight up lie. We'll break down more lies they've been telling about that. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. The goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 a year. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day to support this show and the other 5 shows we have here on the Black Star Network. If you want to do so, please join us via Cash App. Use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. That's also for credit cards. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Yes, we do get checks and money orders. In fact, y'all, I am literally signing all of these right here and depositing them. So, yeah, it actually happens. Again, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal's R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Back in a moment.
I'm Brittany Noble, Midwest-born, HBCU educated with experience in newsrooms across the country. Well, I've teamed up with Roland Martin to bring to you The Breakdown. This isn't just news. It's our stories, our voice, our community. Join me for The Breakdown Monday through Friday at midday, only on the Black Star Network.
What's up? It's Talib Kweli. I'm CEO. This is the Black Star Network.
All right, folks, tomorrow there's a primary taking place in Illinois, a number of races for Republican and Democrat. The one we're really watching is the race to replace Democratic Illinois Senator Dick Durbin. There are a number of people who are, of course, in the race. One of those is the Lieutenant Governor of Illinois, and she joins us right now, Juliana Stratton. She running again with a number of people who are in this race, including we had last week Congresswoman Robin Kelly and others as well. So, Lieutenant Governor Stratton, glad to have you here. I saw, first of all, let's get right to it. I saw the news today. Your campaign had put out a statement saying that before he passed away, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. had endorsed your campaign. And today, his son, Jonathan Jackson, said that wasn't the case. Reverend Jackson did not get involved in races where you had African Americans running against each other. All right, so if you got endorsed, who conveyed to you the endorsement from Reverend Jackson?
So, first of all, hello, Roland. I was at Rainbow Push this weekend. They did a Women's History Month program. I spoke at the program. It was a great event. And I was honored because right after speaking, one of the officials came up to me and gave me a sample ballot and said to me before he passed that Reverend Jackson had indicated that he endorsed me. I looked at the ballot. It had about 100 and so names, I don't know, dozens of names on it. And my name was there for U.S. Senate. And I was very honored to have seen that. And what I'm going to be doing until Election Day tomorrow is making sure that I get out the vote, make sure I talk to as many voters as I can and let them know why I'm the best fighter to take their voices to Washington. You said there was an official at Rainbow Push. Was it? I mean, who was it? I mean, obviously that's a huge deal. So has your campaign released that, or has Rainbow Push has stated who that person was? Well, first, let me just clarify. It wasn't a Rainbow. The sample ballot that I received didn't say it was a Rainbow Push endorsement. It said these are Reverend Jackson's personal endorsements. So I just was honored to see my name on it, and that was something that was being distributed outside, and they said you can feel free to hand this out, and I went from there. Okay, and so have you communicated with Representative Jonathan Jackson on any of the family members since this all came up? I have not talked with them. Okay. I saw a story today that said that supporters of Representative Kelly are boosting her with ads, hoping to split the black vote and paving the way for an Indian American congressman to win it. And so, and obviously, the black vote is critical in Illinois, especially there in Cook County. How do you see your path to victory with the number of candidates in the race? Well, I'm feeling great. We are just about 24 hours away from Election Day, from when the polls close. And the last 3 weeks, we've seen 3 consecutive polls that show that I'm leading in the race. I'm also excited about the momentum that we have, the number of people that have joined my campaign, the winning coalition that we have built. And we're going to keep doing everything we can. But I'm proud that we have the momentum. I'm proud of the excitement that I am hearing from voters all across this state. I'm, of course, supported by Governor J.B. Pritzker, Senator Tammy Duckworth, who will be our soon-to-be senior senator, Congressman Danny Davis, former Congressman Bobby Rush, and just so many more from all across, not just the state of Illinois, but Senator Angela Alsobrooks, who's, of course, representing one of the 2 Black women representing this great state of Maryland. So we're going to keep talking about what we need to do and staying focused on my message, which is I'm running to give the people what they want: higher wages, access to affordable health care, and making sure that we get corporate PAC money out of politics.
What specifically, when as relates to African Americans, you saying the black voters, why they should put you in the United States Senate?
Well, for the past 7 years, I've served as the lieutenant governor of our state, and I'm proud of the work that Governor Pritzker and I have done together to both, protect reproductive freedom, make sure that we create thousands of good-paying jobs, invest in education with record investments, and raise the minimum wage. We've done all of that and more in the state of Illinois, but I'm especially proud of some of the work that I've taken on myself as lieutenant governor. I've led on the birth equity initiative. I called the governor one day and said, look, I'm glad that Illinois is a safe haven for reproductive freedom, but Black women are dying at a rate that's 3 times that of our white counterparts. He said, you're right, let's get to work. And through my leadership, we now cover doulas, midwives, and lactation consultants, whether you have Medicaid or private insurance. I'm proud of the work that I've done through our Restore, Reinvest, and Renew program, where we have invested over $280 million in communities that were most harmed by the war on drugs. I lead that work as the chair of the R3 board, and I'm proud that we are about to put $50 million more into that. But I think that everything that we're doing, whether it's education, housing, access to health care, all of those things that have our communities have disproportionately been impacted by a lack of investment. I'm proud that I've been helping to lead and make sure that we get more of those resources to our communities. And that's going to be my job in Washington, to make sure that we highlight our voices. There are not a lot of voices like mine in the United States Senate, as you well know, and the path to electing a Black woman in this election cycle runs right through Illinois, and I have the best path to doing so.
There are 10 candidates running for this tomorrow. You have winner take all there in Illinois. Are you concerned that somebody could somehow we know who wins the Democratic primary is going to win in November. Illinois is a very blue state. And so that you're concerned that somebody could only get 28, 30% of the vote and actually win the nomination?
Well, look, I just know that we have the momentum, and here in Illinois, we just need to have 50% plus one, and I'm going to work hard to get every single vote that I can. That's what I've been doing all throughout these last 11 months, and I'm going to do that tonight. I'm heading back out to talk to voters. I'll be out there all day tomorrow. And look, we have a deep bench in Illinois. Lots of candidates running, but I know that as I've gone around the state, what people have asked, even when I ask them, what are they looking for? More than anything else, they say, I'm looking for a fighter who will go to the mat fighting for me in Washington. And people are fed up with what they're seeing in Washington right now. They feel like no matter who's there, their lives aren't changing. And they feel like the status quo just simply isn't working. They want to see new voices, new energy, new perspectives, and they want people who are going to meet this moment. It's why I'm the only candidate in this race that has made the decision and made it clear I'm not going to support Chuck Schumer, for example, as leader of the Democratic caucus, because right now people are really looking for fighters, not folders.
From the panel, Thelma, you first.
Good evening, Lieutenant Governor. First and foremost, I am so proud of the work that you have done, especially when we're talking about maternal rights, because I do feel like that's an initiative that continues to be pushed under the rug. So I appreciate your stands and your initiatives that have helped alleviate some of the disparities that we faced as minorities when we're going into the healthcare system. You said something that I had to shout, because the one thing about the millennial generation is we're looking at the Chuck Schumers and we are sick and tired of the muteness that comes from him. So with our generation, we are looking for individuals who are going to be the voice, the ones that are going to put the BTA on the nonsense that's going on. When you're looking at how you can go in and be that BTA of what we're dealing with now, because we're at a pivotal time. Our country is very sensitive to what is going on, and we need candidates like yourself to meet that need. So how do you think that you will fare in the Senate with this type of energy that we need?
See, for the people out
Well,
there,
first of all, I don't see.
one second, for the people out there, Thelma, who are not millennials, we're assuming you mean BTA, mean beat that ass?
Belt to ass.
Okay, just making sure. So, because again, folk in the chat like, what the hell is she talking about?
I'm sorry, y'all.
Right, you just can't just using acronyms and don't explain to folk what the acronym is. Lieutenant Governor Stratton, go ahead.
I'm not trying to get her to
But
fight,
I
y'all.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
But I appreciate
we never
it.
assume on this show. Go right ahead.
Well, I appreciate it, but what I can say is this. It's not about just, I mean, I want to take the voices of the people that I represent to Washington, but it's not just about the person that's elected. It is important that we work in partnership. We have a president right now that is not a normal president. We have a president who's not even a normal person. And this moment requires all of us to make sure that we are holding him accountable. And that includes those of us who are elected officials. It includes those who are telling the stories in the media. It is those who are activists and organizers, educators, faith leaders, business leaders, and so much more. So the job that I will have is to make sure that we have open lines of communication, making sure that we are, when I get to Washington, that we are working in partnership to make sure that our voices are represented and that we're holding this president accountable. Here in Illinois, for example, when we saw Operation Midway Blitz and the way that ICE agents were terrorizing our communities, the governor and I launched the Illinois Accountability Commission to collect data, photos, videos, narratives, because here's the thing, this president is not always going to be the president. And so we need to make sure that we're capturing all of that because we're going to hold him accountable. And when I get to the Senate, I'm not going to confirm any of his nominees or appointees to his cabinet, to the Supreme Court. This is a time that we cannot just have business as usual. And that's the way that I believe that we'll continue to bring our voices in the kind of fight that's needed right now.
Ome Congo?
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor, for being here. I want to follow up on what you were just talking about as it relates to ICE. Senator Padilla from California people talk about Minneapolis and other places, and they forget that ICE is still here in California. And so we know that ICE still has a presence in Illinois and other places. What are some of the strategies that you feel, you talked about Operation Accountability, but what are some of the other strategies that you have done that were successful that you will be able to bring coming into the U.S. Senate that can be replicated at a national level for people to see?
Well, first, let me just say that I'm the only candidate in this race that has made it 100% clear that I want to abolish ICE because I don't believe that this agency can be reformed. And we saw the terror here in Illinois with Operation Midway Blitz, people being snatched off the streets by masked agents stuffed into unmarked vehicles. And I've been out there. I've been out at Broadview facility protesting. I've been marching in the streets. I've been at schools helping students with safe passage because they were scared that their parents might not be able to pick them up. I've been in rapid response where I'm running down the streets as we hear the whistles going saying ICE is in our community. So I am willing to do all of that. We here in Illinois, what we did is we passed legislation that put some real guardrails around where ICE could conduct its activities because we shouldn't see, like we saw a daycare, children sitting there as a daycare provider was pulled out of her daycare center. We shouldn't see ICE going into courtrooms or domestic violence court where people are there trying to get help. So we are making it easier to get justice for violations of rights in court. We've been standing up. We have a fantastic attorney general. We've been taking Donald Trump and his administration to court. And we're doing everything that we can to protect some of those sensitive areas where people shouldn't come. And that's what I will fight for. Look, we need border security. That should happen at the border, not with ICE marching down downtown Chicago. We need to make sure that there's a path to legal immigration. What that looks like to me is that we invest more in immigration judges, community-based resources, social services. But what has happened is because ICE was put under DHS, which is a counterterrorism agency, you already start by looking at our immigrant neighbors through a lens of criminalization. And it's wrong. So I want to, let's start elsewhere. This isn't working, and we need to do something different. And I'm going to keep fighting, and we need to keep fighting at every level, because you're exactly right. This not only is the activity still continuing, the fear and the trauma of what we've seen in Los Angeles, the city of Chicago, Minneapolis, that trauma is real and it is continuing. And look at the budget that they have. Those are our tax dollars. And we should be investing. They tell us at the same time they don't have money for health care or anything else. We need to do something different.
Cecilia?
Well, hello, Lieutenant Governor. It is so great to see you again. I want to talk about basically the fragmentation that Illinoisans are aware and kind of scared of as a Chicago-based resident. So we saw this fragmentation happen in Michigan when Sri Thanadar was elected to Congress amongst so many Black candidates. And while fragmentation is always a risk in competitive primaries, you know, the fear isn't just about multiple candidates. It's about the possibility that divided support could unintentionally strengthen a candidate whose platform is not that of the Black community, if I just must be frank with you. So ultimately, the question is, do you believe that voters can consolidate around shared priorities and more importantly, around what you have proven to be the best interest of people in Illinois?
Yeah, I mean, first, let me just say, and I mentioned this earlier, I have the strongest path to being elected. And I think that, you know, that just has to be put forward. This primarily has been a two-person race between me and Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy. And I can just say that I'm doing everything that I can to earn the support of voters all across our state. And at the very same time that I'm doing that, we see Congressman Krishnamurthy and his allies trying to dilute our power. You know, some of you may know, I'm sure all of you know, that I am the #1 target in the country right now for a MAGA-aligned crypto industry super PAC that is now coming after me to the tune of at least $10 million. That has started only in the last few weeks when it turns out that I am now leading in the polls. It's a PAC that is to support Congressman Krishnamurthy and attack me. And so some of that money that they're doing is they're trying to, you know, not just attack him, but boost Congresswoman Kelly so that there can be a split of the vote. So we see that happening. But the bottom line is I am confident heading into tomorrow's election day. I'm feeling good. As I said, I'm going to keep talking to voters on the South and West side, but all over the state. And so many of them are excited about my candidacy. You all know that we elected the first Black woman to the United States Senate in Ambassador Carol Moseley Braun. We elected President Barack Obama, but first he was elected to the United States Senate right here from the state of Illinois. And this is our best chance and our only chance in the nation in this 2026 election cycle to elect another Black woman. And I'm proud that I have the momentum. I am the one that can get this done. And I'm sure voters will see that.
Obviously, housing is a huge issue. And what have you articulated in terms of your housing plan if elected to the United States Senate?
It's one of the biggest issues that I hear about as I'm going around, and it is another issue of affordability. As we talk about affordability as being a primary campaign message, because so many people can't afford housing. I have 4 daughters, and 2 of my daughters have asked the question, will I ever be able to afford to buy my own home? And we know that the first-time home buyer age has gone up to now 40 before people can afford to buy their own home. Home ownership is a critical part of building generational wealth. But what we have happening right now is we have all of these, corporations that are buying up housing. They're then hiking up the rents, hiking up the prices of those houses. We have to do more to cut the red tape so that housing can be built. That's something that I want to do in Washington, D.C. And I want to see more programs like something that the governor and I have put forth here in Illinois. We reinstituted something called the Smart Buy program, which helps reduce student loan rate, will give you some student loan forgiveness for those who are buying their first home. So that's an example of the kind of leadership that I want to bring in Washington. And I think that's an important distinction. You know, I come to this race 7 years of representing the entire state of Illinois and getting things done for people. My opponent, Congressman Krishnamurthy, has been there for 10 years. He's only gotten 4 bills passed since he's been there, that he has been the lead sponsor. All of them were to rename post offices. And I can tell you that although I believe that those people for whom those post offices were named after are probably really great people who deserve that recognition, when you think of 10 years, it's not enough to say that's my record, whether there was a Democrat in the White House or a Republican. We need people who are going to not just get to Washington and say that's enough. We need people who are going to get there and fight for the people they represent and always make sure that we get things done for them, just like I have here.
When we look at our foreign policy, that is an area that all senators are involved in. And New York Times just sent out something where they said that the Trump administration is now telling the Cuba president that he has to leave office in order for something to happen, go forward. Trump said earlier, we played the clip earlier, where he said, I can do what I want and I can take over Cuba and I can have it. What do you make of where we stand right now in foreign policy? You talk about Cuba, we talk about Venezuela, we talk about a Supreme Court punting on the temporary protected status of Haitians as well.
Well, I mean, you know, I said it earlier, he's not a normal president. We wake up in the middle of the night, and this has happened more than once, where we wake up in the middle of the night to some social media post about an act of war. Donald Trump makes decisions that affect national security, that affect foreign affairs. He makes those decisions on a whim. He does not start with the most important question: what is in the best interest of the people that I represent? That's what we should be doing when we are elected to office. He should be asking what's in the best interest of the American people, but that's not how he operates. He cozies up to strongmen. He alienates our allies, and you know, he's makes decisions based on how he can stroke his own ego or how he can make himself and his wealthy friends wealthier. And then we end up becoming the laughingstock on the global stage. And so we need to make sure that Congress does its job of holding Donald Trump accountable. And as you mentioned, we don't, you know, these are supposed to be 3 co-equal and independent branches of government, but we are not seeing the checks and balances that are needed to hold this president accountable, which is why when I go around and people say, I'm looking for a fighter, I can look them in the eye and say, I will be that fighter for you. Because it's important that we have people that are going to be a check on this president, and that's exactly what I will do.
A question for the panel. All right, then. Well, Lieutenant Governor Stratton, good luck, and we'll be checking out to see what happens tomorrow night there in Illinois.
Thanks so much, Roland, and thank you all. Take care.
Thanks a lot. All right, folks, got to go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
A decade of love, joy, and power. Black Voters Matter is 10 years old, and we are just getting started. This is love with a purpose. This is Black joy in motion. This is unstoppable power. Across campuses, neighborhoods, and back roads. Let's go! We show up, not just to vote, but to be seen, to be heard, to belong. We ride together, we organize together. We remind each other that our voices matter, because they always have. Black Voters Matter is about more than ballots. It's about housing and healthcare, clean water and living wages, education, reproductive freedom, and dignity. It's about turning pain into action, turning belief into movement, turning community into power. We don't wait to be invited. We bring the energy. We bring the love. We bring the people. Because when Black communities come together, we don't just survive, we thrive. This is how change happens. This is how history moves. We organize, we build, we win.
Hey everybody, I'm T.D. Jakes, and I want to encourage you to watch Roland Martin Unfiltered. It'll blow your mind.
Tomorrow there'll be a hearing in the case of the League of Women Voters of the United States versus United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. The U.S. District Court, the District of Maryland, will consider the plaintiff's motion to pause a new rule that prevents nonpartisan civic engagement groups from providing voter registration and promoting civic engagement to new U.S. citizens during administrative naturalization ceremonies. Danielle Lang is the Vice President of Voting Rights and Rule of Law at the Campaign Legal Center. She joins us now. Glad to have you on the show. So Danielle, are y'all a party to this lawsuit?
We are not a party. We are the lawyers, and we're representing the League of Women Voters and a number of state and local chapters of the League of Women Voters in this very important lawsuit.
Okay, so this is strange to me. So what they're saying is that here are people who are going through the process to become United States citizens. And they're saying, what, the League of Women Voters can't talk to them?
Basically, that's right. So let me give you a little bit of background. The League of Women Voters has been doing the work people at administrative naturalization ceremonies register to vote for years, in some places for decades. So the League of Women Voters tracks these ceremonies closely. They go to the ceremonies, they bring registration forms, they help introduce folks who have just become United States citizens to the sacred duty and privilege of participating in our democracy. They not only help people register, they turn in their forms for them, they also instruct them on what are the next coming up? Where can you find your polling place, and help them learn the ropes of our democracy? And this is work that should be kind of treasured by everyone. In fact, even federal law anticipates this kind of activity and instructs the federal government to work with local groups to encourage civic participation and provide civic education. And that has been going on for decades, like I said, uninterrupted. And hand in glove with USCIS, the agency that runs these ceremonies. And then unceremoniously, with no real process, a outright ban was rolled out saying that nonprofits, nonpartisan groups can no longer participate in ceremonies and offer this service at all. And that's true whether or not the ceremony is taking place at a USCIS office, as it sometimes does, or even a public park or a national park sometimes does.
So this is really the Trump administration's, their latest attempt to, frankly, shrink the voting rolls, and they want to target the people who are simply doing the basic work. League of Women Voters, they're not Democrat or Republican. They're not progressive, liberal, conservative. They are a nonpartisan group that's about advocating for people to have people to vote.
That's absolutely right. So the League of Women are validly nonpartisan, and they stick to that. And they are, nationwide. They have chapters in South Dakota and New York, in California and Arkansas. And they do this work in a kind of steadfast way that is committed to our democracy, not to any particular results of an election. And they consider this work really sacred. I've had an opportunity, and we've had opportunities to talk to our clients about this work. It's a way that they get new members. Folks are really excited about doing this work of going to naturalization ceremonies and greeting new Americans with a positive message about our democracy and about participating in our democracy. And they were just heartbroken. When this policy was rolled out in September, they had to cancel dozens of already planned events where they were anticipating registering upwards of 10,000 new Americans. The League of Women Voters in recent years has registered upwards of 15% of all people who had naturalized that year. Over these years, they've registered hundreds of thousands of new Americans. And this new policy is leaving a void that I think quite intentionally is going to make it so that these voters, these new voters that we should be welcoming into our democracy, are instead going to get less communication. They're going to get less education. They're going to not receive this kind of warm welcome into our democracy.
This is not the first time we've seen this. We've seen something similar when Florida changed their voting laws. Basically, they were impacting legal women voters from doing their job there as well. And we've seen other conservative states do this. They act as if, like really what their intention is, how can we keep folk from voting, and how can we make it difficult on the groups who are advocating more people vote, make their jobs harder?
Sadly, this is not the League of Women Voters' first rodeo making claims this in court about their right to do voter registration drives. It is, in fact, not Campaign Legal Center's first rodeo representing the League in these kinds of lawsuits. It's not my first rodeo representing the League in these kinds of lawsuits, because you're right. This is following a model that states have engaged in as well, of making voter registration activity something that should be kind of joyful and fun. We can, invite our neighbors to come stand outside the grocery store and help people register to vote, and instead make it this highly regulated activity that if you have any misstep, you could end up in jail or with ruinous fines. And this is really not only harming voters, although I think that's plainly the intent, it's also muzzling First Amendment speech, right? The League of Women Voters has a message. It is a message about everyone participating in democracy. That kind of core political speech is at the heart of what the First Amendment protects. And that's why the League has been successful in the past challenging these types of restrictions on their core activities of voter registration assistance, and why we believe that they will be successful again in this case.
Questions for the panel. Ome Congo, you first.
Thank you so much for the work that you're doing, Ms. Lang, and your advocacy. I want to know, given the work that CLC is doing, what is the larger picture that you are concerned with as it relates to the voter disenfranchisement that so many people are talking about? I feel like at CLC, you're seeing it at a much larger level than many.
Absolutely. So like I said, this attack on the League of Women Voters and on nonpartisan voter registration activity is of a piece. We have seen this across the country. It is also of a piece of a larger project in which some voters that are disfavored are finding barriers being thrown up against them in a variety of ways. And I think unfairly, and as a result of partisan politics, new Americans, naturalized citizens, folks who immigrated to this country but have earned the right to become United States citizens are often bearing the brunt of that. For example, when states or the federal government now use data that they know is stale and outdated to try to find alleged non-citizens on the rolls, nobody is arguing that non-citizens should be voting, but they are using data that they know will include people who actually are citizens, but that became citizens recently, and the data won't be up to date, and will therefore target those folks in particular. And we've seen that happen time and again. I've had cases in Alabama, in Virginia, in Arizona, and Georgia, where the same issue comes up over and over again, where they're using data that they know is old, that they know is going to target immigrant citizens, and they don't seem to care. But I think the other side of the coin is that voters know, and groups like the League of Women Voters know, that these attacks on our voting are happening because the voice of the voters is strong. And what I haven't seen is voters feel discouraged. Voters are pushing back. Voters are participating. Groups like the League are standing up, and they're going to make sure that they are there to serve the vote, help the voters get over any barriers that are put in their way. So I think there is a reason why we are seeing these targeted attacks on certain sectors of voters, but it's because their voices can be very powerful, and ultimately they are the deciding voice in who governs us.
Cecilia?
Yes, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the work that you're doing. We've seen voter suppression tactics and education bans on the rise, but a nonpartisan group seems like an untraditional target. How is the public responding to this lawsuit?
I think this is an issue. I'm so glad that I'm here to talk to you about it today, because I think it's an issue that has flown under the radar, right? This attempt to ban voter registration activity at naturalization ceremonies hasn't been front page news because we are, engaged in wars on various fronts. There is, so many kind of extreme actions being taken on a regular basis. But whenever I talk to people about this issue, they find it outrageous, right? I mean, I think it is intuitive to Americans that when we have naturalization ceremonies, of course we should be welcoming them. The reason they've worked so hard to become citizens is so that they can have the privileges of being in our democracy. I know that when judges do these ceremonies, it's one of their favorite things to do. And that's because these are really kind of joyful spaces. And so whenever I talk to anyone about this case, regardless of their politics, I think that they're really outraged by, what is a really arbitrary decision. The Trump administration has not provided any meaningful justification for this rule. They say it would be administratively burdensome, but they've provided zero evidence of any burden. They say that they're trying to prevent partisanship. But again, these groups are nonpartisan, and they had a process in place for making sure that all the groups that did this work were nonpartisan. And so at every turn, the administration's decision looks not only arbitrary, but discriminatory.
Thelma?
One of the questions that I have pertaining to this issue is because it's more stemming that it feels like this is an assumption. They're using outdated data to assume that newly naturalized citizens who are also receiving the assistance to become registered voters are automatically supposed to be a Democrat. And it doesn't make sense to me as to what theory are they using in order to come and attack a nonpartisan organization that doesn't skew the lines between parties, but their goal is to make sure that these newly naturalized citizens also have their rights to vote. Because like you said, they go through a lot in order to become U.S. citizens. It's not an easy task. So it's blowing my mind that what are they using in order for them to come up with such a ridiculous stance on taking this option away when they're trying to exclude, when they can be excluding individuals that may vote the way that they want them to vote.
What I do know for sure, I hear you, and I share that kind of confusion sometimes about why issues that I think should be plainly bipartisan and kind of access issues for voters of all stripes, why they have become so entrenched along various political or partisan lines. I don't have a great answer. What I do know from doing this work is that those assumptions are wildly simplistic, and that, newly naturalized citizens, like all Americans, come in all stripes and all politicals. They are nuanced people, and we should meet those voters where they are. We should learn who they are, and we should, politicians should be interested in trying to earn their votes. But I do agree that sometimes, I don't know why, but these voting issues have become so deeply entrenched in larger narratives about, attacking our democracy that we've lost sight of the point, which is really to get to know voters, get to understand their positions, and to earn their vote. And sometimes I feel like we've really lost the plot on that.
All right, then. So you head to court tomorrow. We'll be certainly watching to see how this plays out.
Thank you very much for having us, and we look forward to making our case in court tomorrow.
All right, Danielle Lane, thanks a lot. All right, folks, got to go to a break. We come back. Ooh, more drama, TSA lines, also Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble. All of that next right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
My name is Bill Duke, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, time for Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble.
The city of Chicago has agreed to pay $27 million to the family of a woman killed during a police chase after new evidence surfaced in the case. 47-year-old Stacey Von Harrell died in 2017 when a car fleeing Chicago police crashed into her vehicle. Her daughter, Kimberlyn Myers, survived but was injured. A jury previously awarded the family $10 million in 2023, finding police were pursuing a suspect without their lights on. But during the appeal process, new video evidence emerged showing Myers climbing over her mother's body after the crash, while officers were allegedly nearby and didn't even assist. After reviewing the new evidence, city attorneys recommended settling the case for $27 million rather than risking a larger verdict at the trial. About $20 million will come from taxpayers. About $7 million will be covered by the city's insurance. Ohio Airman Tyler Simmons was one of 6 U.S. service members killed after a U.S. Air Force aircraft crashed in Iraq during a mission connected to operations involving Iran. The 28-year-old Black Air National Guard technical sergeant and boom operator died in a KC-135 refueling aircraft crash in western Iraq on March 12th while supporting Operation Epic Fury. Simmons' mother recalled the moment uniformed officers arrived at her door to deliver the news that no parent ever wants to hear.
When he opened the door, he said, "Oh no." And I jumped up and ran in there, and they were lined up out on the porch. And I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." Out in the back of that airplane, that was it. He said, "I will retire from this, Mom. I will retire from this." I said, "Well, what about the pilot? You always wanted to be a pilot." "I'll do that with commercial after I retire from doing this." This stops. We're done. You know, no children.
Well, blackdoctor.org is using AI to improve how Black communities access healthcare resources. It is the world's largest and most comprehensive online health resource specifically created for the Black community. It aims to address health disparities and improve health outcomes for Black Americans. Black Doctor Incorporated, the wellness platform behind blackdoctor.org, is refreshing its brand with a new platform strategy and a suite of AI-powered tools to close critical gaps in how health information and care reach Black Americans. The group has served Black America for about 20 years. This update includes a clinical simulation platform and a wellness tool, as well as the launch of a new medical advisory board, a podcast, and a video series. Among the new features is WellBot, an AI
clinical simulation tool that allows healthcare providers to interact with virtual patients from diverse backgrounds while navigating complex diagnostic and social factors. Well, a Smithsonian Museum exhibit about the journey that millions of Africans were forced to take across the Atlantic to slavery in the Americas will be moved back to South Africa. A remnant from one of the first sunken slave ships ever recovered will be taken off display in Washington. The National Museum of African American History and Culture has a timber piece of the slave ship called the Soho Jose Pacuti de Africa. It's on display in the Slavery and Freedom exhibit. The 33-pound timber piece will soon be making a trip back to its home museum. It comes from South Africa. It's been on loan to the Smithsonian since it opened in 2016. In an agreement for the piece, it was initially to be borrowed for just 5 years, and then it was extended for another 5 in 2021, ending July 1st. The ship remnant will be among several items sent back to the museum. The last day for the museum visitors to see the timber piece here in America is on display until March 22nd. Under Paramount Skydance's ownership, Black Entertainment Television is shutting down BET Plus and will merge the content on the subscription service with the flagship Paramount Plus streamer starting in June. Along with the change, Paramount is acquiring media mogul Tyler Perry's minority ownership stake in BET Plus. Terms of the transaction are not being disclosed. Perry held a 25% stake in BET Plus as a result of a 2019 production deal with Paramount.
All right, folks, we've seen the massive lines at airports across the country because TSA workers are not getting paid. They are under the Department of Homeland Security, and Democrats have made it clear until there's accountability and transparency with DHS, they're not going to fund that agency. Now, Democrats have offered to present a bill that would, guess what, fund TSA alone. In fact, Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries is looking at doing a particular bill that would a discharge petition that will force a vote on that. Now, today in Austin, man, things got a little chippy between Congressman Greg Casar, and Texas U.S. Senator John Cornyn as the Democrat and Republican faced off at Austin Bergstrom International Airport, where they've seen lines lasting anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. Cornyn decided to bring some burgers, some water burgers for the TSA agents working without pay during the government shutdown, and this went down.
Well, you know, the only acting award should go to Senator Cornyn, who has refused to fund TSA. Just last week, the Democrats in the Senate and the House offered a bill to fully fund TSA, and Senator Cornyn and the Republicans blocked it. So I'm kind of confused about why Senator Cornyn would be here having a press conference at the airport about funding TSA when it's him who has blocked the funding.
Congressman, you know that's not true.
Oh, no,
the
don't.
Democrats have blocked it.
Hold on. No, Rudy, no. Rudy, no. Rudy, I'm there. I'm there in the building.
Yeah.
ICE funding, Democrats have voted against. Then the Democrats brought forward a bill to fund TSA, and the Republicans blocked it. That's the truth. There's only one truth. No matter what Donald Trump wants to do. No, there's one truth. One truth. The bill to fund TSA was rejected by the Republicans. Rudy is making a point, as the senator does, that there was a bill to push ICE funding forward without reforms and TSA in it. And we said, no, we're not going to pass this ICE funding until we get reforms. Let's just fund TSA. And Senator Cornyn and the Republicans said no. They could go tomorrow to Washington, D.C. right now, they could go straight to Washington, D.C. and join with me to fully fund TSA. Senator Cornyn should put his money where his mouth is. Hey, Senator. Senator, I was hoping that we
Why
could...
don't you tell your Democrats to vote to pay these poor
Let's do it. Let's do it.
No,
Why don't
you do it.
No, you don't have to yell at me.
Time and time again.
Let's go. Let's talk for a second, Senator.
No,
there's a bipartisan bill to fund just the TSA. Can we do that together?
Not acceptable.
Not acceptable to fund just the TSA.
How about all the terrorist attacks like we see down on 6th Street? You want those to continue? These people are keeping us safe. Tell the Democrats to vote for funding the DHS.
But let's talk about each one. Would you fund the TSA with me? No? Sounds like instead of bringing people burgers, he should bring them their paychecks, which involves funding TSA. He's refused to fund TSA, so he's bringing up burgers. He's over here talking about funding ICE. But when I asked him about funding TSA, he said he wouldn't fund TSA.
Cornyn organized a visit to draw attention to what he described as Democrats blocking a DHS funding bill, leaving TSA screeners unpaid during these busy airport days, especially with spring travel. Casar said, "What the hell, I'll crash it." That sounds like smart politics to me, Thelma. And you hear, and Lee, you heard what the Democrat, you heard what he said. He said, "Hey, we will present a bill." In fact, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse posted on social media earlier. He said, "We presented a bill, a clean bill, no amendments at all, saying we will fund TSA." Republicans said no. They want full funding of DHS. Democrats say until we get some transparency and some answers from TSA, we ain't funded their budget.
Here's the thing. The one thing that we can always guarantee that the Republicans are going to do is not tell the truth. They're going to make up another issue. They're going to bring everything that don't have anything to do with the matter at hand. What the hell did tariffs have to do with the fact that you decided that you are not going to come in and fund TSA on a separate bill? That had nothing to do with the individuals at TSA. Don't want no damn pizza. They don't want no damn Whataburger. They want their rightful pay. And you have these individuals that are working hard. You see the lines, you see what you are causing, and you think that it is okay and it's sufficient for you to show up with some damn free pizza that you probably funded from your political campaign to use this as a political stunt so that you can get photo ops and you can get clips so you can put it on your website and say, "Oh, I showed up with pizza to feed the hungry and probably individuals from TSA that's going to be homeless if they don't get paid." This is the type of bullshit that these Republicans continue to do. And I'm so glad that he got called out for the things that he do, because we are in Texas. We know what his big ass head be doing all the time. He likes to block stuff. This is the same individual that blocked the Epstein files from being released back in September when they had the meeting, and he's doing the same exact thing. He cannot be trusted, and the fact that you want to utilize this for a political stunt is even more sickening.
You know, you see, you look on social media and you look at Congo, how the Homeland Security, their Twitter account, I mean, they're engaging in, first it's called the Hatch Act. I mean, bottom line is they're constantly attacking Democrats, blaming them for forcing TSA agents to work without pay. And again, Democrats have said, we will fund a bill specifically for TSA, but not all of Homeland Security. Republicans say, no, we won't go for it.
Well, I hope that the Democrats do keep up this energy. You know, I get nervous, or concerned, the longer this goes, some may be more willing to cave if they get some money from certain places. But the way Representative Casar is showing up, it was amazing. And this is the type of stuff they need to do so they can create content to get it out there so networks like us, can talk about it. So, and control this narrative all the way through the midterms, because there are some people out there who are believing the Republican narrative. Another thing that I would love for these Democrats to do is to say, why don't we take some of the money, like 0.1% of the funding that we've given to ICE, and use it to pay TSA workers? These Republicans across the country and some of these airlines, they're asking people to give these TSA employees gift cards for gas and groceries and all of that. And people are going to step up. People are going to support them, but we shouldn't have to do that, because all of the money could come from like 1% or 0.1% of the ICE budget to pay these TSA workers. So that's also something that these Democrats need to also bring to the forefront. The money is there. ICE is fully funded beyond measure, beyond the limits, regardless of the shutdown. They should also be drawing attention to that. But outside of that, I'm very grateful for people like Representative Casar showing up, and they need to keep showing up. They need to get this stuff on video. They need to control this narrative going forward before some Democrats decide to cave on this.
Celia, Democrats, when they come back to Capitol Hill on Wednesday, are going to begin this discharge petition at noon. Bottom line is, what this does is it forces Republicans to be on the record. Hey, if you're complaining about TSA, You force a discharge petition. If you get 218 people to agree to it, it goes to the floor for a vote. It's going to be real hard for Republicans to yell, moan, and complain about this issue if they have to vote no on this. And so this is smart politics by Democrats to use the discharge petition.
Listen, the Democrats are doing exactly what they're supposed to do, and Congressman Casar ain't wrong. I wish he would have went harder on the senator. What we're really looking at is just federal mismanagement. That is Trump's theme, okay? Whatever he can get away with, him and his cabinet, that's what they're going to do. The ICE funding has to be limited, if not fully abolished, and by tying it to this issue, travel in America, hello, that's putting the American people between a rock and a hard space. And so I hope that when the Democrats return on Wednesday, they take care of business.
Oh, again, to me, this is one of those things that I go back to the previous issues that we've had. Democrats are in the minority. The discharge petition is the only way they can bypass Speaker Mike Johnson. To me, let's say 214 Democrats all vote for it. Now, every Republican, especially those Republicans in vulnerable districts, Omekongo, they're going to be on record, and they're going to have to explain why they don't support the discharge petition.
And we have to give props to the Democrats as well, because this discharge petition, it's rarely ever been used up until this point. Now it's been used like 4 or 5 times, but historically it's rarely ever used. And so when people talk about Democrats not using their power, they're using it effectively as it relates to this. And every single Republican who does not vote, again, that's more content, that's more messages that can be put out in the media. These independent voters, these first-time voters, let them see these Republicans for who they are. The fact of the matter is, Epstein, that was about the discharge petition as well. And so every time the Democrats have been able to do this, they have been able to strategically gain more power. And so I'm glad that they are doing this early, because again, like I said earlier, I'm concerned that some Democrats are gonna chicken out the longer this goes. But this is something that should be obvious to anybody. I mean, these TSA workers, they're sleeping in their cars because they don't have money for gas, or because they got issues, getting home and the like. And who wants to have more potential for accidents as it relates to a TSA agent that's tired? And several hundred have just quit. And so the Democrats need to keep forcing this, just like they're doing with forcing votes on Iran and other things as well. This TSA support is extremely important. We can't keep having the TSA agents of all people be used as pawns. And so my hope is that the Democrats bringing this up when they get back ASAP, put those Republicans on blast who are going to be against this. And hopefully between now and Wednesday, some Republicans are going to see the light and realize that they better get on the good foot as it relates to this, because they don't want to be the ones who are going to be on blast come the midterms.
Earlier today,
that Republicans have decided to use TSA agents and other DHS employees outside of their toxic immigration agenda space as political pawns. Like House and Senate Democrats have repeatedly made clear, we should fund TSA, fund FEMA, fund the Coast Guard, fund cybersecurity operations within the Department of Homeland Security. Republicans in the House and the Senate have rejected it. They're playing games, as they always do. So that's why on Wednesday we're going to launch this discharge petition. It's the first day that it becomes ripe to advance Congresswoman Rosa DeLaura's bill. And we'll just need a handful of Republicans to join us. And guess what? Despite all the cynicism, all the skepticism that has existed throughout this Congress, as if Democrats were knocked on our back heels, we've repeatedly won discharge petitions. And if it comes to it, we're going to win this one as well. And so, to me, we can do this the easy way. Why doesn't Mike Johnson and Republicans just agree to put the bill on the floor? It will pass overwhelmingly. Or we can go down the discharge petition route again, and Republicans can once again demonstrate that they've lost control of the House floor and that Democrats are governing in the minority on behalf of the American people as if we're in the majority.
So it's Illinois primary tomorrow, as we saw in New Jersey 11, North Carolina.
Let me ask you a question. Did you ask me? Did you have a question about New Jersey 4?
I'm asking.
What was your question? What was your question about New Jersey 4?
New Jersey 4.
North Carolina 4.
If you would endorse NITA along, if she won the primary.
And what happened in that primary?
She lost. Okay. But I'm asking about outside groups.
This is where you operate in smart politics, because you force their hand. You force their hand, and they have to be on the record. And so what, Cecilia, it ain't like Mike Johnson could say, hey, y'all, vote against this. Especially, again, for those voting Republicans. And you know what I'm sitting here doing? I'm going after the Republicans who represent some of those large districts, some of those large airports where they have problems, and say, see, TSA workers, your person, your congresswoman, your congressman, they're the ones stopping you from getting paid.
Absolutely. I think the best part about what the Democrats are going to go in and do is they are going to say, look, here are the names, here are the list of people, and they're touching an issue that every American, whether Democrat or Republican, can relate to. I got somewhere to be, or my family member is not getting paid. These are American people, like everyone has said, are being used as pawns. And the Republicans who choose not to vote for this, they might as well get ready to find another job. Because this is the issue, if nothing else, that American people can relate to the most.
Absolutely. So to me, hey, full steam ahead, Thelma, and then let's see who doesn't step up and then who wants to get embarrassed.
Listen, when you have both a stay-at-home mom and a career woman in the airport fighting to get home, regardless of where they come from, oh, they want answers. I saw a white stay-at-home mom sitting on the counter telling the agents, you are going to let me on this flight. But for the long lines, there was the issues that caused so much disruption. When you look at places like Dallas, when you look at places like Atlanta, when you look at places like New York and California, you are seeing the chaos, and you are requiring these TSA agents to work for free. Instead of you coming up there, I'll be using that pizza box and them Whataburgers. Where is my check? Don't bring me no burger. That burger ain't gonna do nothing for the bills that I'm going to be left with to pay late fees and get cutoff notices. I don't want no damn burger. I want my money. And if you do not get in line, we're going to get you off the line.
Oh, yeah. So I just can't wait to see what happens come Wednesday. All right, y'all. Quick break. We come back. Let's talk about the Oscars. What happened last night in Los Angeles. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Flashlight Network. Join our Bring the Fun fan club. You want to contribute to our what we do for our 6 shows? Please assist us all you can. Cash out. Use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. That's for credit cards as well. Check some money order and make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo RM Unfiltered. Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Back in a moment.
A decade of love, joy, and power. Black Voters Matter is 10 years old, and we are just getting started. This is love with a purpose. This is Black joy in motion. This is unstoppable power. Across campuses, neighborhoods, and back roads. Let's go! We show up, not just to vote, but to be seen, to be heard, to belong. We ride together, we organize together. We remind each other that our voices matter, because they always have. Black Voters Matter is about more than ballots. It's about housing and healthcare, clean water and living wages, education, reproductive freedom, and dignity. It's about turning pain into action, turning belief into movement, turning community into power. We don't wait to be invited. We bring the energy. We bring the love. We bring the people. Because when Black communities come together, we don't just survive, we thrive. This is how change happens. This is how history moves. We organize, we build, we win.
I'm Mark Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League, and I'm watching the Black Star Network.
Senate Republicans are preparing for a potentially lengthy and contentious debate over the Save America Act. The GOP-led bill, of course, led by election deniers, aims to overhaul elections nationwide, which could lead to the disenfranchisement of millions of voters. This is a graphic being disseminated on social media. The danger of the Save America Act. Access to documents forces voters to present documents like a passport or a birth certificate, which millions of eligible Americans don't readily have. Undermines widely used voting methods, functionally eliminates vote by mail and voter drive registrations, forces states to turn over personal voter information to Kristi Noem and the Department of Homeland Security, and disproportionately harms young voters, voters of color, and women, especially married women whose names do not match their birth certificate. Congressman Joe Morelli, New York, put this out. Of course, it passed the House last month. It's been stalled in the Senate. Trump says the SAVE Act supersedes everything else on Congress's agenda. However, Democrats have vowed to block its progress, and Republican leaders in the Senate have so far hesitated to change procedural rules to circumvent a Democratic filibuster. The situation has created a divide between Donald Trump and some key members of his party. On Capitol Hill last week, Trump stated that he would not sign any other bills into law until the SAVE Act reaches his desk. Additionally, several MAGA-aligned members of the House have indicated they will attempt to block any bills emerging from the Senate until the SAVE Act is passed. Well, you got Republicans like Lisa Murkowski, who said she ain't voting for it. The thing, right, what Republicans have done constantly, Cecilia, is go voter ID. They've tried to make this bill all about voter ID because polling shows 70, 80% of Americans support voter ID. What they don't tell you is that if you already have a driver's license, you can't use your driver's license. You now got to use another form of ID if this is enacted.
Right. I mean, this bill's practical effects are clear. It creates friction points that disproportionately hit the very voters who it suggests, are the ones who really need to navigate the system. And when you look at the history of how added paperwork, ID requirements, and verification checks have played out, the burden consistently falls hardest on low-income voters, young voters, and voters of colors. So this concern, it isn't hypothetical. It's based on decades of data showing that additional verification steps reliably shrink turnout. And again, I think Thelma said it best. Every time we hear a word come out of the Republicans' mouth, we just got to know it's a lie. So to name it the SAVE Act, save it. I'm done. I can't.
Well, and listen, when you look at the amount of money that people are going to have to pay Omekongo, it's a poll tax. We've covered this extensively, and folks are going to have to pay upwards of $200 for a birth certificate and a passport.
Yeah, absolutely. And people out there supporting the SAVE Act, they say, well, other countries have voter ID. What's the problem? We should do it just like they do. Well, if you want to do it just like they do, number one, the IDs are free. The IDs, many of them are electronic, and easily to replace. The government makes sure everybody gets access to it. So just the fact that these Republicans are not even talking about that in any way, shape, or form shows how insincere that they are. And as you talk about it related to a poll tax, we know that the white folks who back then didn't have to pay the poll tax, and in some of these red states in particular, those Republicans who in these red states who don't have the passports and don't have the birth certificates, they're going to let them slide by. So when some people say that this is going to hurt them as much as it'll hurt Democratic voters, that's not necessarily the case, because they are always going to find ways to cheat, and they're always going to find ways to make sure that their voters get over. And so the fact that people in the Senate, are slow to try to revert, talk about changing the filibuster, is because they understand that this would be a death blow for many of them. Now you got people like, Cornyn coming out and switching up, because this is what Trump wants. But this is a moment right now, Roland, where going back to our last segment, going back to the SAVE Act, going to so many of these other issues, these are easy things for people to understand that the Republicans are lying about. You know, some of the existential stuff, you know, Trump's a threat to democracy and all of that other. Some people say that can be a little bit too much for people to try to comprehend, but these are bread and butter issues. Handling the power of the vote, dealing with TSA, looking at these gas prices. And so Democrats have to keep going strong, keep pushing the issue, and keep putting it in plain language so that everybody can understand that just because they put out these things that have patriotic terms like the SAVE Act and things like that, it's all BS, and it's all designed to just make sure that people get disenfranchised. And I think that more Americans are starting to get that message.
And Thelma, one of the things it requires is for states to turn over their voter data to the federal government.
That is so hilarious to me because they don't even look at the data in the correct way anyway. So you want to control what people are able to do in voting, and you also want to look at data that you don't even properly look at to know how to implement or integrate or make this a part of your initiative. So for me, when the Republicans are out here creating chaos, they are doing that because, one, they know they have fucked around and found out. Two, they know that the American people are no longer sleeping at the thought of, oh, we're in a country where our rights are our rights. Everybody's rights have been violated at this point. Ain't nobody's rights have been protected other than the white man, of course, the pedophiles. But when you look at it from the lens of the average voter, it is very clear of who they are targeting. Is very clear on what they are trying to do. It is very clear on the cover up and the magnitude that they're trying to use in order to create this whole holistic approach of saving the vote of the rightful individual when they don't even know how to explain the damn SAVE Act. That's why I'm so glad my co-counsel has made it plain. Save it. That the Democrats need to take that and use that in order to drive it down the Americans to tell them, like, listen, save it. You're not going to come in our face and keep playing with us. We know what you're trying to do. You're trying to save yourself when we take you out and evict you in November.
Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski was chased down by this nutcase from Mike Lindell's so-called network. Listen to this exchange.
Where do you stand on the Save America Act? Do you, support getting this legislation passed to protect elections?
Not as it is drafted, no.
Why not?
The implementation in a rural state like Alaska is going to disenfranchise an extraordinary majority. And while I support citizenship voting and voting ID, I want to make sure that it's implementable.
And she laid that out. Made that perfectly plain, and that's the deal. All these MAGA folk, y'all white folks gonna be in for a rude ass awakening if this thing gets passed, and y'all go, oh my God, what happened? Because y'all followed that idiot Donald Trump. Let me go to a break. We come back. Let's talk sinners and the Oscars. That's next. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
I'm Brittany Noble, Midwest-born, HBCU educated with experience in newsrooms across the country. Well, I've teamed up with Roland Martin to bring to you The Breakdown. This isn't just news. It's our stories, our voice, our community. Join me for The Breakdown, Monday through Friday at midday, only on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Swain Cash, Basketball Hall of Famer, and you're watching Black Star Network.
Folks, last night, 16 nominations for Sinners, most ever. They won 4 Oscars. Did not win Best Picture or Best Director, but Michael B. Jordan did win Best Actor, joining the likes of Sidney Poitier, Forrest Whitaker, Jamie Foxx, Denzel Washington, so, man, you talk about a big night. And I left out one person, Ali. Ali, he won Best Actor as well. All right, so, folks, here's what Michael B. Jordan had to say after his historic win.
Man, God is good. God is good. And, yeah, Mama, what's up? Y'all know how I feel about my mother and my father's here. Your pops, where you at? My dad came in from Ghana. He flew in from Ghana to be here. My brother, my sister's here. My family. I want to thank Warner Brothers. I want to thank Mike and Pam for believing in this dream, this vision of Ryan Coogler, and betting on a culture and betting on original ideas and original artistry. And you're an amazing, amazing person. I'm so honored to call you a collaborator and a friend. And you gave me the opportunity and space for me to be seen. And I love you too, bro. I love you to death. I would like to thank my incredible cast. Wumi, thank you so much for giving Smoke opportunity to be him. Haley at home, she's getting ready to have a baby right now. Thank you so much for being the other half of Stack. Miles, Delroy, Jamie, everybody, Lily, Omar, the entire cast. I thank you guys for supporting me through this. My team, Phil Sun, Greg Sluitt, Lindsey Gallon. Man, y'all. I stand here because of the people that came before me. Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, Halle Berry, Jamie Foxx, Forrest Whitaker, Will Smith, and to be amongst those giants, amongst those greats, amongst my ancestors, amongst my guys. Thank you, everybody in this room and everybody at home for supporting me over my career. I feel it. I know you guys want me to do well, and I want to do that because you guys bet on me. So thank you for keep betting on me. And I'm gonna keep stepping up, and I'm gonna keep being the best version of myself I could be. So I just wanna say thank you for everybody in this room that had something to do with my success. I love you guys. And everybody at home who supported Sinners, who went to go see the movie once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times, thank you. Because you guys made this movie what it is. I love you, I love you, I love you.
Ryan Coogler was nominated for Best Director, but he did win for Best Original Screenplay, the second African-American ever to win that. Also, when I left off for Best Actor, it was Will Smith for King Richard. And some of y'all in the chat, y'all like Halle Berry. No, she won Best Actress, not Best Actor. Here is Ryan Coogler after his historic win as well.
Hey, what's up? Please sit down, because I'm very nervous and they're gonna play me off. Because I grew up in Oakland, Richmond, California, and we can talk a lot. So I want to thank the Academy for thinking of our movie that came out almost a year ago. This is an incredible honor. I want to thank my fellow nominees. You guys, I want to thank y'all for the gifts that y'all movies were and for y'all friendship over the past years and months. I want to thank everybody that was involved with this movie, starting with Warner Brothers. Mike and Pam, you're here. David's here somewhere. Everybody, all my cast and crew, please stand up. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. You guys are, oh my God. You all are winners in my book. Y'all are winners in my book. Sevo Ahani and Zenzi Kulu, you guys are the best producers in the world. Zenzi, you're the best wife and mom in the world. Every day I get to spend with you is better than the one that came before it. And to my parents who are here, thank y'all for all the memories. Thank y'all for making me believe in myself. And to my babies that are at home watching, I apologize for all the time away. Dad loves you. Memories are all we have. I hope I'll give you some great ones. And when y'all blessed to live a long life and Dad becomes just a memory, I want y'all to remember this one thing. I love y'all more than anything. Thank you.
All right, Sinners also won, of course, an historic win in Best Cinematography, the first woman to ever win in that. They also won for Best Original Score. Now, this is too funny here. After the award show, Ryan Coogler, Variety captures this, and he said he turned down another movie that Michael B. Jordan pitched for him to direct, and he said Jordan was a little upset until he had explained to him Sinners. Listen to this.
I wanted to ask you, watching you and Michael B. Jordan over the years is greatness like Phil Jackson and Kobe. At what point did you envision Michael, playing those two roles as you were writing this incredible film of Sinners?
It was from the beginning. Yeah, as soon as I imagined what those two characters were going to be, I knew I had to call Mike. I waited a little bit though. He ended up calling me before I got to him, and asking me if I would be interested in something he was working on independently. And I told him it wasn't the right time. And then he got a little upset. So then I had to tell him about this movie earlier than I wanted to. But thankfully he said yes. You know, I wanted to get the script nice and tight for him before, but he jumped the gun a little bit, so I had to jump it back.
So it was a huge night. Obviously, a lot of folks were disappointed when Delroy Lindo, of course, who gave a fantastic performance. Many folks felt he should have won for The Five Bloods, Spike Lee's movie. And so many folks, again, were a little bit upset last night when, you can go to my iPad, when the names were read and he did not win. Pull it up.
One battle after another. Sean Penn could...
Matter of fact, normally, when they announce the winner, they always show the reaction, and typically, like if you don't win, everybody else claps. Delroy wasn't clapping. Let me roll that for y'all again. Let me show y'all his response when it went down.
The Oscar goes to Sean Penn. One battle after another.
Sean Penn was not there. He actually had a meeting with Zelensky in Ukraine. And then, of course, when it came time for Best Picture, Sinners came up short there as well. Let me get my thoughts and reaction from our panel. What took place last night? Let's see here. Thelma, you first.
Listen, Delroy is me. If I'm gonna be my true, authentic self. If I know some bullshit is going on, I'm not gonna clap. No, we not doing that. We living in our true identity, because y'all know damn well that I was supposed to win that Oscar. But y'all didn't want to have too many colors taking over the Oscars, because we are the most talented. Let's be very clear. So I really was so just excited to see Ryan and the way that he thinks and the way that he processes, and he comes up with these movies to finally get his rightful place in Oscar history as an African-American man, whether it was Best Picture or not. The screenplay says a lot about how he processes and how he manifests these types of films that he creates. And to know that Michael B. Jordan had to play two characters, for them to see his qualifications, even though he's qualified, for him to have to play, not only play, but he killed both actors' positions that he had on that film. I can't say enough about Sinners. Sinners was one of my favorite movies last year. I encourage everybody to watch that, because there's a message. I'm not going to tell you because I want you to get your own message, but Sinners is a phenomenal movie. Everything about it, from the way that it was written, to the costumes, to the hair, to the actors, the actresses, everything was well put together in so many ways. So as an African American, and I know our ancestors was up there cheering, because he told our story, and he told it in a way that we got the message.
But here's the thing here, Cecilia. Sam Jackson was honored with a governor's award, governor's ball Oscar, called honorary Oscar. In fact, they recognized Debbie Allen, Wynn Thomas, Dolly Parton, as well as Tom Cruise last year with Governor's Ball Oscars as well. But when it comes to act, Sam Jackson has never won an Oscar. There are a number of brilliant actors who have not won Oscars, and the reality is, obviously, it's the epitome of acting. But we've seen black folks who've won Oscars who said, that didn't do a damn thing for my career. And so I think the key still is the work. You take the year Driving Miss Daisy won Best Picture. To this day, don't nobody talk about that movie. If they do, it's negative. What we do talk about is the Spike Lee movie that didn't win that year.
Right. I think, first and foremost, let me just say that the Oscars this year was the blackest that it has ever been. And I am so happy to see so many of us really being ourselves and not kind of placating to this cookie cutter, you're the exceptional Negro. No, I am who I am every time I walk into this room. So let me start there. But with that being said, what we have to know is that they will never give us our due credit, whether it be Samuel Jackson, who has done unbelievable work, and the amount of art that he has been in, movies, plays. I mean, listen, none of us are surprised at what happened last night. We know that a sweeps, they were not going to let sinners sweep, even though they absolutely deserve to. But what I will say is that even in Lindo's refusal to clap, I love that. That's art. That's art. Stand strong in what is Black, stand strong in what is right. And we do this, whether it's our work as attorneys, whether it's our work as entertainers, educators, we do this because it's our purpose, not because they gonna give us any recognition. So I'm proud of Sinners. I'm proud of all them Black folks. And I'm proud that they made a film that actually reflects what we're seeing, which is that there are true vampires in our society and that the people who will save you look like us.
Well, again, when Driving Miss Daisy won that year, Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing had been nominated as well. So, Omekongo, your thoughts?
Well, I also wanted to give a shout out to Autumn Akapa, first woman, of any background, to win for Best Cinematography as well. And, I don't particularly care that much about the Oscars when some of the roles that we win for, I'm not the biggest fan of. But when there's a movie that comes that speaks to me and that speaks to our culture and speak like to Do the Right Thing, and I see those types of folks get recognized for it, that means a lot. So I didn't really expect to be feeling the types of emotions I did when I saw Michael B. Jordan win, because he's one of those guys who, I don't know him, never met him, but I feel like when he does his work, I feel like when Ryan does his work, I feel like they do it for us. I feel like they do it to represent our culture properly. And the way that it was a Pan-African cast, Wunmi and everybody, that also resonates with me. And to see these two individuals, Ryan and Michael B. Jordan, to see them come up from where they started and to stay true to their principles, stay true to their families, stay true to their community, and uplift us in everything that they do. It was just a great night to see them get the recognition that they wanted and that they felt that so many of us felt that was deserved. And so that's what I'm appreciative for. I'm happy for them. I'm happy for that entire cast. Definitely one of the best movies that I ever saw. And I just left that movie feeling the same way I did after I left seeing Black Panther. It's like the chest is out. You're just proud of who we are, and you're proud to see us represent in a powerful way. And so just congrats to the entire cast.
And of course, Delroy Lindo was rocking the ascot, so he officially joins Ascot Nation. Y'all know how I feel about that. For a long time, I wore ascots, and I stopped wearing them because people kept expecting me to wear them when I went places. So I was like, I can't have y'all anticipating what I'm gonna wear. But I promised my nieces I would crack them out and bring them back out in 2026. So. Yeah, we're going to do that. So, all right, folks, that is it for us. Let me thank Cecilia, Omekongo, and Thelma as well for being on today's show. Certainly appreciate it. Folks, don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars are critically important for us to be able to continue to build, add new shows, and do more and more and more. And so that's really important. You're to contribute to our fan club. Our goal is to get 20,000 people contributing every year. We ask $50 each. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. And so if you want to support us, use for Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. That's also for credit cards. Checks and money order. Make it payable to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and of course, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag. Go to ShopBlackStarNetwork.com. Our T-shirts, our hoodies, our wall art mugs, hats, all that good stuff. Get your shirt. Don't blame me. I voted for the black woman. Black-owned media matters. All that good stuff. Get it right there as well. And of course, all these black-owned products you see right here. Every single product you see here is available on our site, ShopBlackStarNetwork.com. All of these products, we've got chips and hat, HBCU gear, car wax solution, watches, skincare products, sauces, seasoning, hair products, dolls, you name it, all sorts of stuff. And so simply go to ShopBlackStarNetwork.com. When you buy these products on ShopBlackStarNetwork.com, you also are supporting this Black-owned show as well. And so this is our opportunity to really advocate and support Black-owned businesses. And so please go to ShopBlackStarNetwork.com to check it out. Don't forget, download the app Fan Base. You can follow me at Roland S. Martin and support that Black-owned business as well. Be sure to watch Brittany Noble for the Breakdown with Brittany Noble every day, noon Eastern, right here on the Black Star Network as well. All right, folks, that is it for us. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. And you know, always know, yes, I'm always repping 06. And for the other little youth groups, I'm sorry you couldn't get in. Everybody ain't able.